Australian Sports Show, where we try and cover as many sports in South Australia as we can. As I welcome Rob Popplestone to the show. Poppy, how are you?
I'm going okay. Super week. We've got loads to get through, loads to talk about, and loads to hear about when we hear about our beautiful little girl, Libby Hopwood.
All right, let's get over to Libby and find out what's been happening this week in sport and what's coming up. Libby, what have you got for us?
Well, it's been a magnificent moment in South Australian sport as Adelaide United have been crowned the 2016 Hyundai A-League champions after defeating the Western Sydney Warriors 3-1. The Reds took home the championship in front of 50,000 ecstatic fans in a sold-out grand final match at Adelaide Oval on Sunday. It is Adelaide's first A-League championship in 13 years, the first time ever that United have played host to the A-League grand final. It was a fairy tale ending for the Reds, who miraculously turned their season around after sitting on the bottom of the ladder and remaining winless after 8 rounds, to becoming the undisputed team at the end of the season, only to go on and win their first ever A-League championship title. Bruce Kamau and Isaias produced 2 great goals to make it a 2-0 heading into the second half before super sub Pablo Sanchez answered Sydney's comeback goal by stealing the victory for United with a late goal on the edge of the stopping time. It is now Sydney's 3rd consecutive grand final loss across 4 seasons. However, it is a proud moment for United manager Guillermo Amor, who has transferred his team into a remarkable fashion. It was the biggest moment in the club's 13-year history and one of the greatest days in the history of South Australian sport. After already securing their place after winning the Premier's Plate, Adelaide will be looking to hold their winning momentum when they face off some of the best in next year's Asian Championship League. Former Adelaide United captain Travis Dodd is inspiring fellow Indigenous players both on and off the pitch by encouraging them to play soccer and also providing opportunities for Indigenous kids in remote communities to gain an education. Dodd, who himself left school when he was a teenager, says it is important to gain a good education and wants to provide opportunities for Indigenous children living in rural communities. Dodd was the first Aboriginal player to score a goal for the Socceroos. In April, Football Federation Australia launched its inaugural Indigenous Football Week. The scheme raises funds for the John Moriarty Football Foundation, created specifically for primary age school Indigenous boys and girls, and celebrates the past achievements of Indigenous players and encourages the younger generation to get involved in soccer. Dodd recently took to the field for the 3-time SA champion Metro Stars, who faced off against Croydon in the SA Premier League last week, in a game intended to showcase the potential for Indigenous soccer in South Australia. To the AFL, and finally, there is some good news for Port Adelaide as they claimed a win over Richmond on the weekend. Port Power coach Ken Hinkley says he was excited to see the team get back to playing the fast-paced type of game that their fans are used to seeing. Port will be missing ruckman Matthew Loeb, when they face Brisbane Lions and Adelaide Oval on Sunday after he sustained a knee injury in Power's defeat to Sturt in the Sandful over the weekend. Crows also got back on the right foot to gain a strong win over the Dockers after previously suffering a near defeat against Hawthorn in round 5. Adelaide will be looking to improve upon how they move the ball and work around the contest in Saturday's game against the Bulldogs at Etihad Stadium. As we take a look in the last week's results in the Sandful, Saturday saw Central's victorious over Norwood, despite missing captain Trent Goodrum due to a groin strain. Sunday's game saw Sturt dominate Port Adelaide by 63 points, while North Adelaide beat Glenelg and South Adelaide narrowly edged out Adelaide by 1 point to clinch victory. Moving forward to this weekend, and round 7 kicks off on Friday with Glenelg to face off against the Eagles at Glitterroll. Saturday sees Port Adelaide take on West Adelaide at Alberton Oval, while South Adelaide play Norwood at Hickenbotham. Finally, North Adelaide and Adelaide will clash at Prospect Oval on Sunday. Moving on to the ANZ Championship, and after 5 rounds, the Adelaide Thunderbirds still haven't been able to stretch their wings with a win after being downed in a 3-point loss to the Northern Mystics in Auckland. New shooter Stephanie Puopolo will step in to replace Cody Lang as a permanent player for the season while Lang undergoes a knee reconstruction. The girls will be back playing on home ground on Sunday as they continue to chase their first win of the season when they face off against the Southern Steel at Priceline Stadium. And finally, the Autumn Festival of Racing kicks off this Saturday with Morphettville and Schweppes Oaks Day. Traditionally a day at the races for ladies' fashion. I'll be down there frocking up for a change. I want to see the boys get down there because I think Pop will look good in a dress.
Yeah, well, you know what, I can tell you a quick story about this. I came home after a few drinks one day And as you do in the privacy of your own house, Phil and Lib, is you muck around. So I dressed up in my then wife's tennis gear, and my little daughter thought, Dad, you're so funny. I might have come out with some lingerie and high heels as well. Anyway, they thought it was really funny. Fast forward a couple of years. No, I'm not wearing it anymore. Fast forward a couple of years at my son's 21st. My then 5-year-old daughter says, Dad, can I say something? I'd like to say something in front of all my family and friends. I think this is beautiful. She gets up and says, my dad wears my mum's clothes. Oh my God. Then I had to explain what had happened.
And no one believed you?
No one believed me.
Well, there is some
So
chance.
no, I won't be frocking up at Morphettville, but I will be there. It should be a big day.
All right, we've got plenty to come on the show, lots to talk about, but I do want to ask you this one, Poppy. Former Socceroos captain, of course, Lucas Neal, has lost $40 million over his 19-year career. That's roughly what he earned, $40 million, into bankruptcy on some bad movie investments. Now, how do you lose $40 million?
Look, I lose $2 down the back of the couch. I ain't moving out of the lounge room. I don't know how you do 40 million. I've got no idea. But
just with so much story around the world game at the moment. I mean, Leicester with their success story, Adelaide United with their success story. And this one over here, $40 million. And there's no way you could recoup that. No. I mean, his career's finished. We're talking about a former captain of the Socceroos.
So there's only one way, Powerball. And that's the only way you can get it back.
You're going to have to buy a lot of tickets for that, isn't it?
Anyway.
Adelaide Crows, in a good place at the moment?
Yeah, great place.
Port Adelaide?
Getting there, getting closer.
Can Port Adelaide make it into the 8?
They've got a little bit of work to do. I reckon I wouldn't mind scratching below the surface of that at the end of the show, actually.
Have a little chat about that?
Yeah, I reckon.
When we come to the end of the show, we will have a chat about that. All right, time for us to go to a break. Stay with us, plenty to come. We've got bowls. We're going in to the inner sanctum of the Alan Scott facility down there. Show you the weights room. Going to interview one of the young players. Going to have a look around at the training facility down there. Not too many people have been in there before, so we were lucky enough to get our cameras in there. We'll get a look at that. Of course, we've got the Southern Footy League coming in. Got a very special guest coming from them, an undefeated coach of the SANFL this year. Will join us. Kochi, of course, is in for a chat. Plenty more to come on the show. Stay with us.